Muy buenos días. Realmente es un privilegio comunicar con ustedes por medio de este pequeño video.
Good morning. It is a real privilege to communicate with all of you by this short video.
Espero que ustedes notaron nuestro entusiasmo para el tema del Evangelio en nuestro sermón.
I hope you are able to observe our passion for the subject of the gospel in our sermon.
Mi amigo George realmente no puede hablar ni papa de español.
My friend George really can't speak any Spanish. Wait a minute. That is not how we're supposed to do this.
Seriously, I hope you found our discussion of gospel fluency to be interesting and honestly a bit challenging. We would love to see our congregation grab onto a new vision of the importance of sharing and living the gospel.
We understand this can be challenging because it's also challenging to us. However, the plan and the fact is that we are going to impact our community and the world by sharing the gospel. We'd like to go over a few things that we're going to talk about this weekend together. And first is, what is gospel fluency? Well, it's really the ability to talk about Jesus and his teaching and his revelations with ease and effectiveness.
It's about living out the values and the mission of the gospel.
So Woody, why are we talking about gospel fluency during Missions Weekend?
George, unless we have a gospel fluency, unless we have the message of the gospel and the hope of the gospel, there's really no sense in going out. Yes, we do a lot of wonderful things that have value in and of themselves, like medical missions. But when we take the gospel out, it has a chance to change people from the inside out. And as it changes people, it changes cultures and it changes the world. George, since you're here in this area, in the town, how does becoming fluent in the gospel affect our daily lives right here in Rochester?
Well, I think it's really important to be able to speak fluently in the gospel because you spend your entire day interacting with other people. Most people do. And I know it's different right now in COVID, but you should be able to, if someone comes along and is curious or skeptical about something that you have said about your faith, that you can answer them in a way that's loving and caring and gets them to take their next step in their faith. And you can do that if you're fluent in the gospel. So, Woody, last week, Rick mentioned that we have 61 international missionaries or mission agencies, and we've got 21 local organizations that we partner with. Why is it so important for us to be talking about gospel fluency with that mission? And is that mission really a part of what we're doing here with gospel fluency?
Yes, it is. Autumn Ridge, George, as you know, is a different kind of church. Many churches today are not interested in reaching out into the community. They're not interested in reaching out to the world. I'm going to use an old-fashioned term here, and that's a missions-minded church. We are a church that is interested in still impacting this world, and we believe that God has called us to do it. You know, I would have a question for you that would apply to whether it's overseas or right here in Rochester. And if someone was dying in your arms and you only had 2 minutes to share the gospel, do you think you could do that, George? If I had a heart attack right now, and I know you question my salvation at times, that if I was dying, what would you say to me?
So this is a really good exercise, and for your life groups, I think this is important for us to talk about. It's probably not likely in your lifetime that would happen, but if you did, you would be able to do this. And this exercise is excellent. I'd like your life group to think about it. So if you had 2 minutes to explain the gospel to somebody, and one of the very easy mnemonics that you can use is the ABCs of salvation, and that is admitting that you are a sinner and that you believe in Jesus Christ, that he died on the cross, and that you have confessed that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. Now that's it in a nutshell, but it's going to depend. So I know you, Woody, and it would be very different for me to have that conversation with you than it is for someone maybe that I just met on the street or a colleague at work. But you have to take those circumstances and understand how the gospel fits in each of those and to be able to share it effectively.
One of the things with gospel fluency, which I think is so important, is it's not just sharing the words, although it always includes that message, but it also has to include our lives. One of the questions we are giving you this week comes from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, where Paul says he has shared the gospel with them, and not only that, he has shared his very life. That's true gospel fluency. And that's what we're trying to encourage people to in our church.
And we hope that this is very helpful for you in formulating some conversation, maybe asking some questions about what gospel fluency means to you in your life group. Have a great discussion.